Hello,
Powered by
everyone, and
Riverside
welcome back to
FM.
the Ash Gracie podcast. Today, I wanted to talk to you all about something that has been on my mind for a while, especially with the end of this chapter coming up, and a lot of people asking me what I'm planning to do after graduation. As a lot of you know, I'm an international student and only came to the United States for college. I hadn't even spent 24 hours in Los Angeles before deciding to move here 4 years ago. I wanted to take this time to talk to you all about the American dream and what it has been like for me to spend such formative years in my life in the United States. I wanted to share some of my personal thoughts, experiences, and reflections on what the American dream means, at least to me, and hopefully provide some insight in a way that demonstrates a new perspective. Growing up away from America, this country was all that I saw in the media: movies, books, TV shows, you name it. It all takes place in America. It was marketed as the place where everyone wanted to be. And so it was a typical dream for my friends and I to want to study in the United States and hopefully live there as a working adult one day. To me, getting a degree from the number one public university in the United States means so much more than just a degree. It's proof to myself and to everyone outside the US that crafting your own American dream is, in fact, possible. When I first arrived in the US as an international student 4 years ago, I was filled with excitement, hope, and also a little bit of fear. I had been told my whole life that the US was the place where anyone could make it, and I was hopeful that that would be true. A land of opportunity, because I believed it. And I thought as long as I worked hard enough, I could create the life that I dreamed of, and I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to make it happen and make the most of it. Over the past few years, I have come to realize that the American dream isn't exactly the same for everyone. And the American dream that I was told as a child is very different to what I think that it is now. For international students, there's a layer to the dream that is not often discussed. And that's like the challenge of navigating a system that wasn't designed for us. The financial burden, the cultural differences, and of course, the question of whether we can even stay here long term once our studies are over. For many international students, the American dream starts with the idea that getting an education in the US will open doors. Doors to opportunities and success that might not be available back home. The reality is that pursuing that dream can be expensive. Tuition fees are sky high, and for most international students, scholarships or financial aid are limited, and a lot of international students aren't eligible for financial support. Then there's the issue of work. Most of us come here with the hope that we can find a job after we graduate, but work visas are notoriously difficult to obtain. Even with a degree from an American university, the chances of staying here long term aren't guaranteed. And for many, that's a huge source of anxiety, myself included. I know that when I was younger, I would dream of getting a job in the US and one day maybe be able to get a green card. The American dream promises freedom, but the reality is that for many international students, we're constantly navigating a maze of paperwork restrictions and uncertainty about our futures. Beyond the financial stress and the visa struggles, there's also the cultural aspect. When you arrive in the US as an international student, you're not just facing the challenge of academic rigor, but you're also navigating a completely new culture. And for some of us, it's a culture shock where we realize that not only do we have to prove ourselves academically, but we also have to fit into a social fabric and material that feels completely foreign. There might not be a language barrier, but the pressure to assimilate is real and it can be isolating. We're expected to understand the social norms, the language, humor, unspoken rules, without much guidance. It also very quickly becomes your entire personality and your entire identity that you're not from the US. And it makes it hard to make a name for yourself outside of that fact. Because truthfully, I don't like being known here as the international student because there is so much more to me than the fact that I don't have an American passport. Let's also not forget the weight of representation. As an international student, especially one who comes from a marginalized background, can't help but notice the lack of representation in many spaces. The American dream, as it's portrayed, is often centered around a very specific idea of success, the one that is rooted in whiteness, affluence, and a certain type of American identity. And for someone like me, it's been easy to feel like an outsider, wondering if I belong in the dream that I'm chasing or if it was ever meant for me in the first place. And here's the thing. I don't want to make it sound like the American dream is a complete illusion, because for some people it absolutely works. There are people who come to this country with nothing and build incredible lives for themselves, no doubt. But for international students, the dream feels more like a possibility than a certainty. It's something that we reach for, but we're not always sure if we'll ever be able to touch it in the way that we imagined. For myself, I've learned that the American dream looks very different to me now than it did for me growing up. Now I've come to the realization that my American dream is simply the experiences that I've been lucky to have over the past 4 years. Living and working in America long term post graduation is no longer part of the dream for me, and I've realized that it's okay. I'm not disappointing my younger self by not following through in her dreams because they are simply not mine anymore. And I feel that it is more important to follow through my current dreams because I believe those are the ones that are going to make me the best version of myself. So, what can we take away from all of this? Well, for me, it's this. The American dream is a powerful idea and concept, but it is also deeply individual. It's something that means different things to different people. And as international students, we have to carve our own paths and redefine what success looks like and learn to navigate a system that wasn't designed for us. The dream might not look like what we were told it would, but that doesn't mean that we can't make it our own. Maybe it's not about getting the perfect job or building the wealth that we thought we would. Maybe it's about creating a life that's fulfilling to us, regardless of what that consists of or where it takes place, even if it looks a little different than the dream we first imagined. And maybe in doing that, we create a new kind of dream for ourselves, a life that's more inclusive, more realistic, and more in line with our own journeys. So to everyone listening, regardless of where you're from and what your culture is and what you bring to the table, you're not alone in navigating this interesting path that we call life. The American dream might feel like an impossible chase, but remember that building your own version of it, one step at a time, with both resilience and determination. I hope you all found this episode insightful, and I hope you all have an amazing week ahead. And as always, don't forget, you are amazing, you are loved, and I thank you for being here.